Elena stepped off the airplane and took a deep breath. The air smelled different, fresh, and new. She smiled. After so many months of dreaming, she was finally here, in a new country. Everything felt exciting and a little scary at the same time. She pulled her suitcase behind her and followed the crowd inside the airport. There were many signs everywhere. They were all in English. Elena knew this was her first real chance to practice. She decided to play a small game called Copy the World Challenge. Every time she saw an English sign, she would read it out loud 2 times. She whispered, "Exit, exit." Then she said, "Baggage claim, baggage claim." It felt strange at first, but slowly it became more fun. As she walked through the airport, Elena felt proud. She was not just reading, she was shadowing. She was speaking English, even if it was only a few words at a time. It made her feel stronger. At the immigration desk, a man in a uniform took her passport. He looked serious, but then he smiled and said, "Welcome." Elena smiled back and said, "Thank you," trying to copy his pronunciation and tone. It was a small moment, but to Elena, it was a big success. She had spoken English with a real person. After getting her suitcase, Elena looked for a taxi. She saw a big sign that said taxi and whispered to herself, "Taxi, taxi." Her heart beat faster. She felt nervous. She had to talk more now. She had to tell the driver where to go. She joined the line for taxis. Her mind raced. What if she said something wrong? What if the driver did not understand her? She took 3 slow breaths and whispered, "I am brave. I can speak." When it was her turn, a driver waved at her. He smiled and said, "Taxi?" Elena smiled back and said, "Yes, taxi." She felt happy. She had answered quickly and clearly. The driver opened this door, and Elena put her suitcase inside. "Where to?" the driver asked. Elena's mind went blank for a second, but then she remembered her plan. Use simple words. She said, "Big hotel downtown." The driver looked confused. He asked, "Which hotel?" Elena felt a wave of worry. She grabbed her phone to check the hotel name, but her battery was only at percent. The screen loaded very slowly. Elena's heart raced. She needed to think fast. She added, "Near park," hoping it would help. The driver frowned and asked, "Which park?" Elena did not know. She bit her lip and stared at her phone. At last, the name of the hotel appeared on the screen. She showed it to the driver. The driver looked at the phone and smiled. "Ah, okay, I know it," he said. Elena sighed in relief. She climbed into the back seat of the taxi. As the car started moving, Elena looked out of the window. The city lights were bright. The streets were busy. She whispered again, "Downtown," saying the word 2 times like in her practice game. She was still practicing shadowing, even now. Elena thought about her journey so far. She had read English signs out loud. She had spoken to an immigration officer. She had told a taxi driver where she needed to go. They were small steps, but they were important. Every small step gave her more confidence. She smiled to herself. She knew she was not perfect. She knew she would make mistakes. But she also knew something much more important. She was speaking. She was trying. She was learning. Elena leaned back in the taxi seat and watched the city pass by. She whispered quietly, I am brave. I can speak. I am learning. Her heart felt lighter. This was not just a trip, it was the beginning of a big adventure. An adventure where every English word she spoke, every small mistake she made, and every sign she copied would take her closer to her dream. Elena was ready. Her English journey had truly begun. The taxi moved through the busy streets. Elena sat quietly in the back seat, feeling proud. She spoke English at the airport. She had asked for a taxi. She had given directions. Everything was going better than she had expected. She looked out the window and smiled at the new world around her. The driver looked at her in the mirror. First time here? He asked. Elena nodded and said, Yes, first time. Where from? He asked. Mexico, Elena answered with a big smile. The driver grinned. Ah, Mexico. I love tacos. Elena laughed softly. Me too, she said. She felt happy that she could have a real conversation, even if it was simple. After a few minutes, the driver spoke again. Long trip? He asked. Yes, many hours, Elna replied. Her voice was a little soft because she was feeling very tired now. The driver smiled kindly. Tired? He asked. Elena nodded and said, Yes, I want to rest. Suddenly, the driver's eyes grew wide. He looked surprised. You want to wrestle? He asked, almost shouting. Elena froze. Wrestle? No, she thought quickly. Wrestle means to fight. That was not what she wanted to say. Her face turned red. She waved her hands quickly and said, No, rest, sleep. The driver stared at her for a second, then burst out laughing. He laughed so hard he had to wipe his eyes. Rest, not wrestle, he said between laughs. At first, Elena felt embarrassed. She wanted to hide, but then she heard the driver's laughter. It was not mean. It was friendly. He was not laughing at her to be cruel. He was laughing because it was funny. And slowly, Elena started to laugh too. The taxi filled with warm, happy laughter. Elena realized something important. Making mistakes was not the end of the world. In fact, mistakes could be funny. Mistakes could even bring people closer together. The driver kept joking, You're strong. You wrestle. Elena laughed and shook her head. No, I'll sleep, she said. He smiled and told her, My cousin, he wrestles on TV. Big man. Maybe you will meet him. Elena could not stop laughing. No, thank you, she said quickly. Even though the misunderstanding made her nervous at first, Elena felt grateful. This funny moment taught her a big lesson. It taught her that small mistakes are normal. It taught her that people are kind. Most of all, it taught her that laughing at yourself is part of learning. Elena decided that when she got to her hotel, she would start a new notebook. She would call it the Laugh and Learn Journal. Every time she made a funny mistake in English, she would write it down, not to feel bad, but to smile and remember. Each mistake would be a step forward. Each mistake would be a happy memory, not a sad one. As they drove, the driver kept smiling. You like wrestling? Maybe tomorrow we wrestle. he joked again. Elena laughed and answered clearly this time. No wrestling, only rest. The driver gave her a big thumbs up in the mirror. Okay, sleep good, he said. The car moved closer to the city center. Lights were everywhere. Elena felt proud again. Even with mistakes, even with funny misunderstandings, she was speaking English. She was connecting with people. She was living her dream. Elena leaned back in her seat and thought about the day. She remembered how scared she had been before speaking. She remembered how worried she was about making mistakes. But now she saw the truth. Mistakes were not scary. Mistakes were part of the adventure. Mistakes made the journey more colorful, more real, and more fun. She smiled to herself. She would remember this ride forever, not because it was perfect, but because it was real, because it was funny, because it was full of life. When she got home, Elena knew she would tell this story to her friends. She would laugh when she said, I wanted to rest, but I almost became a wrestler. And every time she remembered this moment, she would feel a little braver, a little stronger, a little more ready to speak English no matter what. This was not just a mistake, it was a beautiful memory. It was a lesson in laughter, learning, and moving forward. The taxi finally stopped in front of the hotel. Elena looked out the window and saw a big sign, Grand Plaza Hotel. She almost cried with happiness. She had made it. She grabbed her suitcase and paid the driver. As she stepped out, the driver smiled and joked one last time, Good night. Have a good wrestle. Elena laughed and answered loudly, No wrestling, only rest. She walked into the hotel with a big smile. Her heart felt light. She had faced her fears. She had spoken English in real life. She had made a funny mistake and laughed about it. And now she feels stronger. When Elena got to her hotel room, she dropped her suitcase and sat on the bed. She thought about everything that had happened since she arrived. She had used shadowing to read signs at the airport. She had talked to a taxi driver. She had made a mistake, and she had survived. More than that, she had grown. Elena knew she needed to keep practicing. She did not want to forget the important lesson she had learned. Speaking English is not about being perfect. It is about being brave. She took out her notebook and wrote a new title on the first page, My English Adventure. Underneath, she wrote today's date and the story about the taxi ride. She laughed while writing about the wrestling mistake. Then she wrote a message to herself. Mistakes are my friends. Mistakes help me grow. Elena decided she would keep a daily journal in English. Every day, she would write a few sentences. It could be about what she did, what she saw, or what funny mistake happened. She would not worry about spelling mistakes. She would not worry about grammar. She would just write and enjoy the process. To build even more confidence, Elena made another plan. She would practice speaking out loud every morning and every evening. She called it Shadow Your Day. In the morning, she would describe what she was doing. I am brushing my hair. I am putting on my shoes. In the evening, she would talk about her day. Today, I walked in the park. I bought a sandwich for lunch. Speaking out loud, Even when alone was powerful. It helped her brain get used to thinking in English. It made English feel more natural. And every time she spoke, she became just a little bit braver. Elena also decided to keep her small practice games. She liked the 5-second challenge she had used before. She would ask herself simple questions like, "What is your favorite food?" and answer quickly without thinking too much. This helped her speak faster and more naturally. And of course, she wanted to keep her new Laugh and Learn journal. Every funny mistake would become a memory. Every small mistake would become a small victory. Some days, Elena knew it would still be hard. Some days, she might feel shy. Some days, she might not want to practice. But she promised herself she would keep going. She would remind herself, mistakes mean I am learning. Speaking means I am growing. Elena thought about the taxi driver's laughter. She remembered how scared she had felt when he misunderstood her. But she also remembered how they both ended up laughing together. That moment showed her something important. People are kind. People understand. People want to connect. From now on, Elena would not wait to feel perfect. She would not wait for the perfect word, the perfect sentence, or the perfect moment. She would speak now. She would make mistakes. She would laugh. She would grow. Elena laid down on the bed and smiled. She was not just learning English, she was building a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a way full of bravery, laughter, and joy. Tomorrow will be a new day, a new chance to speak, a new chance to practice, a new chance to grow stronger. And Elena was ready. She whispered to herself one more time before falling asleep. I am brave. I can speak. I am learning. I am living my dream. Her heart was full of hope. Her journey was just beginning, and she was ready to enjoy every step of the way. Today, you followed Elena's wonderful journey. She started her trip feeling excited, but also a little nervous. She wanted to practice English in a real situation. She wanted to speak clearly, make new memories, and grow stronger. At first, Elena used small tricks like reading English signs out loud and shadowing simple words. She was careful, but she was also brave. Then, in the taxi, a funny mistake happened. She said, I want to rest. But the driver thought she said, I want to wrestle. At first, Elena felt embarrassed, but very quickly, she learned to laugh. She saw that mistakes are normal. They are part of the fun. They are part of the learning. Later, Elena decided not to be afraid of speaking anymore. She made small habits like talking to herself every day and writing her own journal in English. She learned that real fluency does not mean being perfect. It means being brave. It means trying, even when you feel nervous. It means speaking from your heart, not from a perfect plan. Elena's story shows us a very important lesson. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you will wait forever. But if you speak today, even with mistakes, you will grow stronger every day. Mistakes are not bad. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. They are your stepping stones to success. In your own life, You can use Elena's example. Start today. Speak English out loud. Practice every day. Celebrate your small wins. Laugh at your mistakes. Stay positive. Your English will get better and better with every small step you take. Congratulations! You have listened to the full story and practiced your English skills today. Your listening, understanding, and confidence have grown. You should feel very proud of yourself. Every minute you spend practicing brings you closer to your dream. Now, let's make it a little more fun. Here's a small quiz. What helped Elena become more confident in speaking English? A. Waiting until her English was perfect. B. Speaking every day, making mistakes, and learning from them. Please comment your answer, A or B, below. I would love to see your answers. If you enjoyed this story and want more easy, fun English lessons, please subscribe to our channel. Your support gives us the energy to create even more free content for you. Also, if you want to help us grow, please consider donating. In the beginning, it is very hard to make quality lessons because we do everything for free to support your English learning. Your donation will help us create even better content for you and for learners around the world. Thank you so much for being here. Keep speaking, keep smiling, and see you in the next lesson.